Valerie Hunt, RunRx. Welcome to Ask Me Anything on Wednesday Live. And we've already got a couple great questions, so I'm going to start with those, but I'll tell you right up front that two main things we're talking about today are how to run through an injury. Well, I shouldn't say like that. What do I do if I have pain? Do I keep running? That's the question. And then the second thing was about running a little bit faster. And so I want to address those two first, and then I'm going to check out the other questions. And if you have one, just put it in there, put it in the comments, I'll come check. So the first thing I want to address is, running pain-free is what I'm all about. And ultimately because I love running. And when you can't run, you just realize how much you love running, right? So whether you're training for a race or you just like to run outside, just go to get outside, that's what I'm all about. So ultimately, things that come as a benefit or a byproduct of learning how to run correctly, so it ties together with the speed, is that most people, they will start running a little faster just because we're increasing your efficiency. So to be prepared for that, there's two things I ask people to do. One is, instead of trying to take your brand new outrun for any kind of distance, let yourself practice and progress with your practice. And second, be okay with, in the beginning, my heart rate might go up. That's okay. So just kind of keep those two things in mind. But one of the first things I get from people, because I'm about running pain-free, is about their running injury. And so someone told me recently, it was great, I actually shared it. She had Shin splints, and it took her about 3 months of working with the technique to run pain-free. But she ran 5K pain-free, great feeling, all of that stuff. So the question I get a lot is, should I continue running if I have a running injury? And so my answer back is, if you can weight bear, so that's important too, right? I'm talking about, I have the beginning of a shin splint, maybe my heel's been bugging me, things like that. So I'm gonna go over something kind of fun today. And basically, if you can weight bear, like I said, you have to at least be able to weight bear to even consider running. But if I can run 3 steps and I'm pain-free, then run another 3. And continue, and you can reset and all these kinds of things. But if you can, take your body weight forward and pull your foot and feel, less effort, one, and no pain, then go, or go is, that means you're probably not, that means your pain is more than likely coming from incorrect movement. So, and I want, back in the day we would say run through the pain. No. Run only when there's no pain. Pain is your body saying to you, something is wrong in your movement. So in order to continue running, you need to be practicing the correct movement. So when I talk about running 3 steps, I'm talking about running 3 steps correctly with the correct intent of movement. And so that being said, there's a running pose that I teach. So I teach pose method of running. And this running pose, commonly referred to as the figure 4, it's an S-like shape to use muscle elasticity. If you can stand in your pose, take your body weight forward and then pull your foot up from the ground and repeat that. You probably, one, will feel very different in the beginning, but one, as you increase your ability to repeat that, you're putting your body in the correct place to be, your tissues, your muscles, everything. Well, as you're recovering from your injury, you're also getting stronger. You're also getting yourself into a place where you can continue running. So that's what I highly encourage. So start with the 3 steps and then continue. And then of course you've got to add in supplemental strength and self-care. So I'm actually going to take this jacket off. Sun's out. Love living in Texas. One of the things that we have to make sure, people ask me all the time, what stretch should I do? So I have a ton of stretches, by the way, in our portal, in our library. There's a lot of so many good stretches, right? One of the things that we have to make sure of is, are we keeping our ankles relaxed during our run? So instead of thinking about a stretch, make sure you have full range of motion in your ankles. So ankle circles are really easy to add in, ankle openers, this kind of movement stuff with your feet and your ankles. Because remember, your body, when you're on the ground, you're going to be here, and then you want to get off the ground really quickly. So it's not that I need a lot. I need to be able to get off and on the ground quickly. So I want to have range of motion, and I want to have elasticity. And elasticity is my ability to rebound my foot up from the ground. So one of the main things that happens, number one, say you have a shin splint. Most people, when they run, they try to push off their back foot and then extend with their front one. So both of those movements kind of work against you, because now your back foot's going back and then your front foot was going forward. Your body's confused. And the problem is now I just added like 3 times my body weight here, 1,500 steps a mile, sorry. It's just that repetitive stress, right? And running is already repetitive. So imagine if you reverse that, and instead of pounding your body when you run, you instead get your body weight forward, fall, and pull. And now you're pulling 2% of your body weight and only using 10% muscle, active muscle contraction. Your muscles are always working. That has nothing to do with you. Your job is simply to pull. So I'm going to talk about speed along with injury prevention and reduction. So number one, first you have to think, how do I travel forward when I run? That has to be your first thought, because if I want to run faster, what am I going to do? If I wanted to run faster, and obviously you don't have to answer me, but most people, when I would ask them, how do you try to run faster? Most people say to me, I try to extend my leg forward to increase my stride length. Number 2 answer is I push off the back so that I can throw my body forward and extend. Some people say I try to pump my arms, move my arms. So all of these are actions. So one of the things that, I never thought about this before, by the way, but if you do an action in place and you stay in place, it's not helping you travel, right? So if I'm standing here and I pump my arms and I just don't go anywhere, but my arms get tired. If I push, you can't really do that in place, but yeah, you can. If I push, where am I going? I'm going up, right? Same if I reach. If I reach, it's hard to do that, but if you reach, these actions take you nowhere, right? Same thing with pulling. I teach pulling. But if I pull, and then I pull higher, or I pull faster, I didn't go anywhere. How do I travel forward, or backwards, or sideways? Gravity and free falling. And what's amazing is the more you accept that and then recognize it and then practice it to feel it, it's great. You probably have a speed potential you had no idea that you had, honestly. So every one of us, if we have been running by using active muscle contraction and running with our legs, as soon as you start to use gravity to fall, your foot pulls up from the ground naturally. It's a natural response. All of us, we all have a blueprint, natural blueprint for running. That's the pose. This is the running pose. We all get here at some point. If your intent is to pull to get here and then fall, then you can keep running. You can run faster, you can run longer, because now you're actually running. And then pulling the foot up from the ground quicker using muscle elasticity reduces impact. So I'm saving my joints, which is number 1. Number 1 is I want to be able to continue running. Faster is fun too, but forward, because this is the best part. Gravity is always available, and unfortunately, it can be your best running partner, or it can work against you, because if you're pumping arms or reaching or pushing, it doesn't really care. It's like picking up a kid when they're having a fit and they keep moving their legs, they're not going to go anywhere. So same with you. Be efficient in your movement, but be aware that you control. Acceleration happens on the ground. So the distance that I fall, the angle that I hold my pose is my stride length. Because stride length itself is the distance I travel from pose to pose. We will never feel the air. I can only sense when I'm on the ground. So we have to practice what happens when I touch down. Well, what happens is I'm here and I want to not be there anymore. As soon as I feel my foot's on the ground, pull. You're sensing that because your body weight is going that way and you're pulling to keep up. So real quick, if you have, all of us have your angle of fall, 22.5 is the highest you can fall without face planting. Elite sprinters are like somewhere between 18 to 21, like Usain Bolt. And then marathoners are like 16 to 18. So, you know, it just kind of goes like that. But the average runner that I work with in RunRx, and even Valerie, we all have the ability to just improve because most of us are not even using it. We're all in the same, we have the ability to use it, but we're missing that opportunity because if you land here, you're blocking your ability to fall. You're stuck here until you take your back leg and you push. So if you avoid all that and you simply work on holding this, fall, and pull, the simplicity of that repeated, two things are going to happen. One, you're going to be more efficient. You'll be off the ground quicker, use muscle elasticity, save your joints. And two, yes, you're going to be faster. So, sorry. Then you can be faster by increasing your skill in that. And that's training. So that takes you on a little bit of a different journey. But just to note that for all of you, just that efficiency will get you out of that injury as well. Okay? So let me answer a question somebody had. Okay. Yes, okay. So that's funny. One of the questions I just answered, which is fine. Okay, so when you guys first start to do this running, to change, especially if one of the things to consider is depending on, say, how you've been running, how you've been training, how you've been practicing. Many people come into running, and if you have an injury, and you have, so I said this a little bit earlier, range of motion in the ankle. My ability to relax my foot in the air is something you have to work on. And that is where the stretching comes in. That absolutely 100%. So you have to do things like, and we have, if you have not yet, on our YouTube channel, we have a 30-day practice, which has stretches, strength exercises, elasticity exercises, and skill drills. You have to do them all. Why? Because I have to be able, one, to have a floppy ankle. How do I get that? Well, you do ankle circles, you do ankle openers, you do plantar stretches. There's not one that's the best because you have to work the whole foot. Toe scrunches, absolutely. Someone said, if I have plantar fasciitis, should I do toe scrunches? Yes. You should do toe scrunches to not get plantar fasciitis. So if you have no foot pain, yay for you. However, I'm telling you, you've got to move your feet. You've got to connect with your foot. That's what holds your body weight. When you're running, you want to be one body weight. You're connected. Your whole body's connected. All of our muscles work together. It's all one thing. But where's your support? On the ball of your foot. So that's why we do hops, to develop muscle elasticity. So someone that has Achilles pain, generally when you very first start to try to run pose, you either over pull, so you're working really hard and that's really fatiguing on the calf, or you're trying to find the ball of the foot, so you kind of do this. We call it the prancing pony, if anybody's out there feeling like a prancing pony. So part of that is just learning, but it does get this guy pretty tired. So just doing this, by the way, will stretch the Achilles. We put these every Friday. We have Fix It Friday. You can hashtag Fix It Friday on our site, and you'll find a ton of exercises. But I highly recommend for you guys to do two things. And one is, yes, stretch the Achilles. Absolutely. I mean, this is my go-to. It's so simple. Just bend the knees and let it stretch. You can offset your weight. But you've got to do the elasticity work. I have to develop my ability for my foot to rebound up in my run. And I know myself, when I started this training 20 years ago, I taught a bunch of aerobics classes. So I was always bouncing, but I would get runners in my clinic, and after about 30 minutes of doing this, they would be like, oh, stop, please, can we take a break? And I still tell people today, you have to develop muscle tendon elasticity. The best part though is you have the potential to do so. So it's not like, oh, I don't have enough strength in my muscles. It's none of that. It's none of that. It's simply developing, one, your ability to connect with it and just use it. Maybe it's been a while. When's the last time, honestly, that you just stood up and did ball of foot hops? Right? I mean, not all of us do that. So that's why I incorporate these things, but ease in. But if you have any Achilles pains, yes, stretch, but please start to work on this elasticity. Somebody else asked, and I kind of answered it, when you first start practicing, yes, your heart rate's going to go up. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. I promise. Your heart is a muscle. It needs to be strengthened as well. So when you're first switching or transitioning, two things are happening. One is you're still trying to do what you used to do and adding a new movement on top of it. So a lot of times, again, over pulling. And then also developing my ability to use gravity. So if I've never used it before, be prepared. In the beginning, you're like, woo, this is exciting. I mean, it's really what running feels like. I mean, you're free falling. So you need to allow yourself to experience that. So when you go out for a little bit of practice, maybe leave the heart rate monitor at home and just feel, have a little bit of fun, like a roller coaster. You'll be all right. You'll recover, get your heart rate back down. I promise it will all level out. So that's important. If you are feeling pain, please do not continue running through it. The idea is to work on the correct movement so I can continue movement. So if you're out running or practicing, something hurts, you stop, you can reset, put yourself back in your running pose. Make sure you remember, I need to fall and then pull my foot. One of the things we talk about in our practice is using the elasticity. So you can do things like use a metronome, practice hopping, pulls in place, but just remember, to fall, you have to allow. It's not an action. So you have to think about it, and then you can connect with it. And also over pulling. Okay, so last question, and I'll answer. So this is a great question. When you only pull your foot from the ground, the lifted foot lands naturally. Gravity does that. You really have to let go of trying to do two jobs. You can only do one thing. Do one thing, but do it really well. How's that? So one of the best things about learning this is I pull my foot. There's no way I had time to pull my foot up and put the other one down. You just don't have time for that. So if you connect with what pulling is, pull. See, I'm thinking about it. I'm connecting. And I'm not just pulling. I'm pulling to the pose. So she asked to see, or he, I'm sorry, I don't know, to the front of the foot. So if I simply do nothing, see I'm on this line, and I do nothing but pull, do nothing. See I'm on that line. If I'm not on that line, I can correct. What am I doing? I'm just centering myself, balancing myself, but I'm connecting most of all that I only do the up. And when you're pulling up, you see the foot is in a neutral place. It's just on the ground. So if I don't worry about landing and I simply pull, then landing will be okay. Because your foot, your brain and body are incredible. And your foot will actually know where to go down if you do nothing. See, I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at the ground. I could keep pulling. I'm not worried about putting the foot down. So a lot of times if your foot is landing, you know, pronated, supinated, on the outside, all of these things are a response to reaching. So again, you start to switch to pulling and these reaching errors start to correct. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm not even thinking about it. So then, wow, my knee pain is much less, right? That's really important. And that's why we have all those drills too, is to make sure you're feeling that and then developing the strength and stability to be able to do that. So it's all a lot of fun that way, but it's a mind shift, right? That's important too. So as I continue to do the skill, the corrections continue to happen. And that's honestly, by the way, guys, it really is true. 53% reduction on the knee when you are in the correct pose. And when you use gravity to fall and you simply pull the foot. So practicing that, it's for any speed or distance. But yes, you are gonna run a little bit faster. Whoever wants to run even faster, take time to really develop that fall and that quick pull, and off you go. Have some fun. All right, thank you so much for participating and asking questions. It's great. You can even comment under here if you have more questions. I'll either answer them live next week. It's always nice to have the community involved because there's a lot of people out there ready to get back to running. So remember, if you are injured, you are welcome to take our free RunRx online quiz on the website, runrxquiz.com, and you'll get a tip on strength, skill strength, and self-care to help you start getting out of that injury. And then, of course, the YouTube 30 days, great way to get back to running. See you guys next Wednesday. Thank you.